Pregame.com.
Alabama at Auburn. Line opened Alabama minus 21.5 on the road. Total 45. Not much movement on the side. Line's now 21, but the total has gone up to 47. This is Brian's pick. Tell me who I'm betting come Saturday.
Well, you've already talked about between us on my play in the NFL. It's not one of the most exciting games on the schedule, so I figured I'd throw out a good game here.
It's a great game.
Yeah, a lot of interest in this game. If you remember last year, Alabama had a big lead in this game.
24-7 at the half.
Yep, and they were going in for the clinching touchdown turnover, and we all know the rest is history as Auburn was able to win all those games, and they win the national championship. I like the dog in this game. I went back the last 20 years, and the highest spread in this rivalry was 14.5. It's always been a really tightly contested series, and if you're from down south, this is a huge game. This is a huge rivalry, and the Tide's defense has just been amazing this year. Against every FBS team they've played this year, they've allowed 14 points or less, including 7 of their 10 games to single digits. So they've got a terrific defense. But in the reality of things, this game, even though it's a big rivalry, this game means much more to Auburn. So if I can catch a team who the game means more to them in a situation where historically it's not in this price range, I'll take the points with Auburn, the 21 points. This is Auburn, you know. We always make these things about this is their bowl game.
Yeah.
But in reality, this is their bowl game. This game is more important to Auburn than any bowl game that they'll be invited to, especially if you consider they played for the national championship last year. So this is a huge game for them, whereas in Alabama, they got bigger fish to fry.
For sure.
It's a big rivalry game, but in reality, these kids know what happens down the road is much more important. And for Auburn's situation, this is their big game. And as much as we came into the season, and I think everybody came into the season who does this for a living, knowing that Auburn was going to be down this year.
Yeah.
They've actually played pretty well.
I'm impressed at 7-4 after everyone they lost.
Right. They've already surpassed, I believe, I think they came in six
and their season
team.
win total, exactly.
So they've already surpassed that, and they've got the one game left. But it's a situation here for Auburn. And, you know, you look at their home field, Jordan-Hare Stadium, they've won 14 straight games here. They're undefeated this year. Last time they lost here was to Alabama, and if you remember, that was 2 years ago. Alabama was the number 2 team in the country, very similar to the situation now. They're only getting 10.5 at home. They only lose that game by 5. So now, I believe that was an 8-win Auburn team. So now we've got a 7-win Auburn team, very similar.
Right.
But the line, instead of being 10, is at 21. So we're getting a lot of point spread value there. And they covered that game, only losing by 5 2 years ago. Strong home field here in a big rivalry game. I'll take the 21.
They do. They're 6-0 at home, and I couldn't agree with you more. One thing going into Thanksgiving weekend that bettors need to be aware of, more recreational bettors are entering the marketplace. Right. There's an influx of square money that the books are awaiting. So what are they going to do? They're going to inflate lines on teams that they know are going to get bet. A team like Alabama, even though they're playing Auburn, books know they're going to get money. And nothing supports this more than the fact, forget the Golden Nugget opened this line at 12. That was months ago. But just 2 weeks ago at the Hilton, Alabama was only 17 for this game. Now all of a sudden there's 3 touchdowns. That's an inflated price to me. I thought at 17 it may be inflated, but at 21 I have no doubt. The only thing is this that I worry about Auburn is what's going to happen on Friday when LSU plays Arkansas. I think that game is going to have some big implications on how Alabama plays in this one. Meaning, if Arkansas upsets LSU, then this is a big game for Alabama. This is style points. Mm-hmm. They're going to go in there wanting the blowout. Now, if could they do it, that's a different story. But I think they'll be a lot more motivated if Arkansas is able to beat LSU. On the flip side, LSU's almost a 2-touchdown favorite. They're a double-digit favorite. They're expected to win that game. They should win that game at home. So if they do, I could see Alabama, coming out even a little more flat for this one. It's a big game, don't get me wrong, playing Auburn. But like you said it when you started breaking it down, they have bigger fish to fry than Auburn, you know. For Auburn to have success in this game, though, they're going to have to be able to pass the ball. You're not going to run on Alabama. Nobody's been able to run on Alabama. 75 yards that they allow and 2.5 per carry. That's impressive in college football. And when you look at Auburn, here's a team that rushes the football 42 times. They average 184 yards. So they need to run the ball, it looks like to me. That's not going to happen against Alabama. So can they successfully pass? When you look at what they've done for the season, they've only averaged 162 yards, hovering around 56, 57% completion rate. So that's the only pause I have for Auburn, you know, that they will have to have success passing, especially if they fall behind. Will they be able to, you know, use that running game at all if that's the case? And that's when things could sometimes, you know, get out of hand. But they may not fall behind to this team. And like you said, they've played some pretty tight games in recent years. As I'm looking at this as bottom line value. And you're giving me 21 when the true line should be much less than that. The only way I can look is Auburn or pass. I mean, if you're not going to take the points, there's nothing to suggest you should be betting Alabama in this game.
You made a couple of points that I talked about with Marco when we did a couple of videos earlier. One is the public element. I've had a lot of success in these midweek games because the public gets involved. If
Exactly.
If it's on TV, the public wants to bet
And they're getting involved in midweek on conferences they know nothing about.
Right. And these games, this is Thanksgiving weekend. I mean, they're in action. You want to sit in front of the TV and watch football.
People are off. The wife's out shopping.
That's the way it is. And so you're getting a lot of people who don't normally bet, or you get people who are betting more because they're watching these games on TV. So there's an advantage in that. When I did my pure power rating, this is just a strict number on this game.
Sure, no matchup, no situational.
It was 19.5. And that doesn't include the situation with this game being the bigger game for Auburn. It doesn't include the fact that that Alabama's got bigger fish to fry in the future. And when I looked, for example, I think we're going to talk about one of these games later on, the Michigan State game. I know from what my power rating is what has happened in that game, why the line is where it is now. With this game, it should have been lower than the 19.5, but it's actually at 21. And to be honest with you, I haven't bet it yet because I think I'm going to catch a 21.5.
I think you will. That's the only way it's going to go. You know, unless the betting syndicates get involved and they really, really get involved, because Alabama's going to get money. They're going to get teaser money, they're going to get parlay money, and they're going to get straight money. I mean, recreational bettors, guys that don't bet all year, bet very sparingly, you know, in big games, they're going to see Alabama as the number 2 team in the country. They know Auburn was a national championship that lost all their players. They see Cam Newton playing on Sunday. You know, I agree with you, man. Auburn's a strong home team. They're 6-0 there, and they're 4-3 in conference. The only loss that Alabama has is on the road. So if you're ever going to fade them, that's the place to do it. I agree with you. I like Auburn in this one. Sit back. Brian says this line should go up a little bit. Big weekend of football. We'll be back to cover another college football game. That's my bet. Then 2 NFL. Both of our best bets are in the NFL this week. Don't forget, go to pregamevideos.com. All the videos will be up in one thread. Plus, the guys making the picks will go in and comment, answer any questions, and check who you guys like as well. We'll be back with Northwestern, Michigan State.